Oh, there's risk, but the reward is a reborn city. The little city of Oneonta in upstate New York is saying no to the demographic shift. We aim to reverse the trend line, to bring 1,000 new neighbors into our city, to energize our historic downtown, to recapture the magic of the last century when Oneonta was a place to make memories and launch dreams. 1,000 new neighbors joining our community and adding to our quality of life. To bring them here, we'll take a blitz of promotion and connection, and we'll take the efforts of hundreds of us working together. But if we pull this off, we will all win. This is the Hill City Gambit. I'm the mayor, Mark Drenick, and we've got a story to tell.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to learn more and support Oneonta and our effort in bringing 1,000 new residents to our little city, visit exploreoneonta.com. That's exploreoneonta.com.
I am here with the mayor of the village of Cooperstown, Ellen Tillapaugh. Mayor Tillapaugh, it is so great to have you here.
It's great to be here with you, Mark.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions that I want to throw out there, and it's baseball season now, so it's like I'll pitch, you catch. All right. So Cooperstown's name recognition. You know, I talk about Oneonta's got a phonetical spelling as our logo. You know, so we are a bit more challenged than Cooperstown. But talk to me about Cooperstown's name recognition.
100%. I often hear that from residents, locals who say, you know, I was traveling XYZ place and I mentioned I was from upstate New York. And they said, oh, really? Well, where? And they'd say Cooperstown. And they'd say, oh, yeah, we know Cooperstown, largely because of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, which takes a national spotlight, you know, at least once a year at the induction, but certainly in January, when the inductees are announced, et cetera. So it has an incredible presence on our Main Street. So yes, we're kind of known for that, probably.
Yeah, and it's really Cooperstown, as much as anything else, it's like a brand.
100%. And you know, I often tease you about that you have 2, I think, baseball parks down there with Cooperstown in the name. And Hardwick Seminary has the Cooperstown Dreams Park. But the village of Cooperstown doesn't have a baseball park with a name Cooperstown. In fact, the name Cooperstown is marketed pretty far. I've been to cities in New York State and seen Cooperstown something or other. And it's fascinating. It is what it is. And, you know, we have a viable economy, and I am pleased with what we have.
Yeah. So for somebody who lives in Cooperstown year round, you know, there's an awful lot of visitors to Cooperstown. That's the name of the game come summertime. But what is it like? What's a typical year look like for somebody who lives in Cooperstown?
You know, everyone seems to sometimes say that we have nothing but baseball stores on our Main Street. But actually, if you walk down the Main Street and count our businesses that are baseball affiliated and not, you'd be very pleasantly surprised. They really don't predominate. We have a jewelry store that's wonderful that opened up a couple years ago on our Main Street. We have a clothing store, Kate's Upstate, that has actually purchased a building, has been on Cooperstown's Main Street for several years, really has a great business and has purchased a building. So to continue that clothing store. So really, there's just a lot of very viable businesses on our Main Street. Our restaurants in particular, I don't think we have quite the variety that you might have in Oneonta, but where ours are well patronized and very popular. I know I don't even try and get a reservation at some of our restaurants in the summertime. It's not easy.
And there's a real difference in the pace of life in the summer and in the winter, and just the buzz of the summer tourist season, which is, I'm saying summer, but it's really a 6-month tourist season, for all intents and purpose. But it's a different kind of a pace for folks in the fall and the winter. And of course, you've got the same beautiful topography that we have here in Oneonta, right? So you get into the fall and then the winter and so forth.
Right. And, it's interesting because I was shopping on our main street the other day and someone was saying, we stay open. It's not easy. It's a little lean sometimes in January, but they had a very good year. And I think that local people do tend to really patronize the businesses that do stay open, particularly during the fall, late fall holiday season, and January and February. We love it. And because we do have some restaurants and businesses that obviously close, but the others are appreciated by the locals, and I think you'll see that they're well supported as a result. This hasn't been done since the pandemic of 20, but for several years, Growing Community would put on a sort of a potluck supper, and the village board would close a good portion of our main street, particularly in front of Village Hall, and long tables would line it for over a block. And it was basically a potluck, and people would bring garden harvest special meals and walk around and share. It was like a huge village dinner party, and everyone just absolutely adored it because you could sort of feel like, okay, we welcome tourists, we welcome the world to our door and our home for the summer months, and it gives us a very viable business district, etc. But it's so nice just to roll out the sidewalks and have it just be the local residents for a while. And it's a wonderful event. And I think they tried to resurrect it last year, but it was a bit of a rain. We'd never had a deluge on that day. So a backup plan might be necessary in order to continue that wonderful tradition.
And then you got the Winter Carnival too, which generally speaking that's one of my favorite events. And that
Fabulous.
goes days. Yeah.
Yeah, that date's already been set for 2024. It's going to begin open on Thursday, February 1st and run right through Sunday. The Winter Carnival Committee, which is a very dedicated group of volunteers, has really re-energized that whole thing. It's wonderful.
There are certain concerns that I have as mayor, that you have as mayor as well. What would you say are the concerns that you share with the city of Oneonta? Things that are both you and I have kind of landed on.
I think we, broached that with our Cooperstown corridor brochure, which you did marvelously on last year. We need more people. When I was growing up in the village of Cooperstown in the 70s, our population was 3,000. When the ARPA funds, the only ones that were allocated to a small community like Cooperstown, the pandemic relief funds, were distributed, they were given based on population. They said our population was 1,752. You can imagine we didn't get much COVID aid relief from that, even though as a predominant tourism engine, and we had not really been able to sustain what we needed to in 2020. We took close to $1 million loss in our revenues between paid parking, sales tax, etc. So the COVID relief fund didn't really make us whole. So building our population, and to do that, we have jobs in Cooperstown. We have a marvelous medical facility, Bassett Healthcare, that employs many on staff here. But many people drive in from surrounding communities, 20, 30 minutes away or more. And we would love to be able to have housing here for them. And we've looked at several properties. We just had the past year a Chestnut Crossings, 10 Chestnut open a net zero 13 unit apartment building that is just incredible. It filled a property that was basically an underutilized, abandoned 30-year-old commercial space, and that had sat there for 30 years. So to have those apartments and that positive synergy happening is really wonderful. We need people, we need housing.
Right. In Cooperstown, very similar to the city of Oneonta, there's a kind of pervasive mindset that will tend toward green energy, sustainability, historic preservation, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a hot button for an awful lot of folks. Which talk about asking folks to consider picking up and moving to both the Oneonta community, the Cooperstown community, the corridor betwixt and between us. It is absolutely a hot button for folks. It's one of the things that they like to hear. Cooperstown's connection to that kind of progressive thinking, not progressive in a political way, but that kind of, sustainability and the respect for not only the environment, but the historic environment as well.
100%. There was a brochure, I believe it was from Otsego 2000, that mentioned Otsego County is one of the top 5 counties in New York State for properties taking advantage of the New York State historic tax credits. And the other counties were, of course, one on Long Island, like Kings County, Albany County, Rochester, big urban areas. So it's very exciting that I think Otsego County and our region really has appreciated our historic structures, our historic buildings, and is willing to invest in them, because sometimes the greenest building is the one that's already built.
Right. That's exactly right. I'm going to wrap up with one last question. We both know what, you can ask us any question. We're all going to go to the things that we want to talk about. And you and I tend to talk about the same things. So I think we think alike. I think you look at the issues that we are faced with, and if you are a creative problem solver, you're going to wind up thinking alike. So that's one of the reasons I appreciate our relationship as much as I do. So talk about the relationship with Oneonta, though, generally, the Cooperstown Village and City of Oneonta relationship now and over the years.
I can't speak historically that much, but I have, growing up in Cooperstown, Oneonta was it for us. Thursday night when the stores were open, that's where we were going. I think we all have those memories of riding the escalators at Brazil's, etc. So I've never looked at it as kind of us, them, but all part of the county. And, I think that we all rise together.
Boy, you got that right.
I have to tell you that I'm slightly jealous because your welcome home, make Oneonta your home. You've gotten it launched a little before I have, but I was working on the same committee, and my group, in fact, meets this evening for another meeting. We're refining things, going to work on a website, and we're going to meet monthly, though, basically the first Tuesday of the month at like 5:30. And we're beginning at the Village Library building, and we're just encouraging people to come. May will be the first launch because there's an influx of medical staff at Bassett, so we're going to make sure they're included. Then in September, we have an influx of students, from our CGP, et cetera. So we're going to have big gatherings at least 4 times a year, but monthly. It'll be there to be as simple as, you're new to the community, let us tell you what we have here. And so I have a really wonderful group of volunteers who are really gung-ho about this. The Friends of the Library has agreed to provide some assistance as well. So we will probably move around, hopefully, maybe sometimes spill out of Village Hall onto our front lawn of Main Street, so people can really see that we're here to welcome people.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we've been very lucky with the volunteers that have stepped up for our what we're calling Welcome Home Committee. We were calling a Welcome Wagon, but apparently there's a copyright issue around
Yeah, I read that in the paper. We've been going back and forth to, Cooperstown welcomes you to Welcome Home, but
Yeah.
I think we may end up with the same name, Welcome Home.
Oh, good.
That's the hardest thing is getting your name.
It is. It is. Well, I tell you what, we will absolutely share the successes and the resources that they've already started to accrue, because, as you said, we do this together. You know, we rise together. So that's one of the great things about the relationship with Cooperstown, just generally speaking, is as Cooperstown succeeds, so does Oneonta, and we're going to certainly ensure that the reverse is true too. I want to play. So I got these interns, the Gambit gang, and one of them, Luke, sent me before we got together. They must have been talking about it themselves for a while, but didn't bother telling me. So he said, what do you think of the clips that I've sent? Don't look at them, but what do you think of them? I said, what the hell are you talking about? But anyway, apparently he or they collected clips from three different people. They've got three different clips. They want me to play them in sequence. And then he's sent me a separate email where he will tell me in that email, I'm not allowed to look at that either, whether that person who's speaking is from Cooperstown or from Oneonta. I'm not 100% sure what the point of it is.
So have you heard? You haven't heard these either. We're both hearing them.
It's all new to me. So we'll see if the technology works. I'm going to switch over to the first clip that he sent and see if you end up being able to hear that.
When I was 10, I moved away. My dad has a job with the State Department. So growing up, I was all over the place. Been to 46 different countries, lived in 13 of them. I've been all over the place, but this has always been home base for me. I've been living at this spot for the past 3 years, and it was a nightmare. The one place that I'm at right now, that was the first spot where I got a response. Back then it was like around COVID and there really wasn't much. So, but I definitely lucked out because a lot of my friends that are looking for their own spaces are just having a tough time. There's just like not a lot of availability. The sense of community here is like impeccable. It's great. And that's definitely a huge driving factor for me to want to stay here, maybe have a family here. There's not a whole lot out there for work. And right now I don't have a car. So it's been hard to find positions around here. There needs to be more things to do. Also, like some diversity in the restaurants. I feel like it's just like, especially 2023, it's all the same. Why is that? People are afraid of diversity. Me being cultured all around the world and stuff. Yeah, I'd like to see some culture, some difference in restaurants. And I think that would bring different people, which we need. It's too consistent here.
All right. Well, yeah, again, I don't know where we're going with this, but if I was going to guess, I'll let you guess. I don't think it makes a difference which of us guesses first, but I'll let you guess first.
I was going to start out with it could have been either community, that it's the sense of community is maybe sometimes difficult to find a place to live. Both could fit off both of us. When he started talking about not very many restaurants, I thought, we're probably a little more routine in our restaurants, because I know when I want good Indian food or Chinese or anything, I head down to Oneonta. So that made me think it would be a Cooperstown person speaking.
I'm with you on all of that, including the restaurants piece, but I just feel like this young person, it sounds like a young person to me, has already had so many worldly experiences that I'm going to think that this is a student or somebody who's in a recent, because there are certain different things that the colleges send folks out in J terms and all these other kind of, cool opportunities to kind of expand their portfolio, as it were. So I'm going to say it's Oneonta. You're thinking it's Cooperstown.
Yes.
Okay. And then the answer is it's Cooperstown.
Yeah. You have better restaurants, maybe. We're more ethnic. So we are having a brand new Nepalese, two brothers from the Nepal area will be opening a restaurant on our main street within the next few months. So we are very excited. And unfortunately, Cooperstown is probably more diverse than many upstate, small, take 1,750 people. Most upstate communities would be pretty homogenous. We actually, and when we were doing our police reform plan that in 2020, we looked at all the census statistics, and actually we're like 15% of other ethnicities, but about almost 85% white. And so we recognize that and totally want to be as welcoming as possible.
So I'm going to play clip number 2 here. We'll see. Hopefully it's not quite as long as clip number 1 was.
Has been here since 1989 or 90, but I'm starting my 7th or 8th season. Yeah. So owning it. Yep. The community atmosphere. It's a beautiful town. I don't know. I think we're lucky to live here. It's safe, like nice. It's nice going to the store and seeing people that like it's nice always having a familiar face wherever you go. I think. I don't know. What can they do to promote the year-round open businesses in town? I think that would be really important because there are those of us who stay open year-round. Mm-hmm. And we're open 7 days a week year round. So
okay, I think I know what that one is, and I bet we have the same guess.
Cooperstown.
Yeah, that's my guess as well. The tip off being for me a couple of things that it's everybody. It's a small
people when you go to the grocery store.
That's right. Did you say 1,000 and how many? 700? Is that what it was?
1,752.
Right. So you're going to know your neighbors, and then I guess it's probably something that is a consistent theme for folks. We're still open come wintertime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see what clip number 3 portends. If I can. Here we are.
I do a newspaper column for the Daily Star, and I do videos for Otsego Media, and I do a radio program. If you move here, you better damn well have a good job because there's no jobs here. Be nice if, I usually have money in my pocket when I walk around downtown, but there's nothing I want to buy. There's no stores that sell anything that I want to buy. The public school system here is very good. My grandson goes to school here, excellent schools.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I actually know that guy.
I was going to say, I think I recognize the voice. So yes. That's it. Oneonta. Hey, I think I batted, 1,000, whatever you bet, 500.
Yeah, you batted 1,000. I batted 667. They'll still get me into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it would.
Hey, one last thing before I let you go. The Savannah Bananas.
Yes.
They're actually making an appearance in Cooperstown?
Yes, it's in September, and essentially the Hall of Fame, this is a pretty big thing. Obviously, it will be at our newly renovated Doubleday Field, and we're incredibly excited about that. We're finally finishing up the 3rd and final phase of that. The bleachers were delayed. The new bleachers we're installing were delayed during the pandemic time period. Yes, the Savannah Bananas. And boy, I have gone on and to YouTube and watched them. I feel like I know the people, the team they play against, everything. I think it's really exciting. And in some ways, this is exciting. It's 2 hours. The owner goes out there in his banana suit, starts the clock, and at 2 minutes, or 2 hours, doesn't matter if the bases are loaded, the game's over. I love the fact that a batter can hit a pop fly, and if it goes foul, but if it goes into the stands and someone catches it, they're out. I love all of that. And I think it's an incredible excitement, and we're really pleased that they're coming. And I'm appreciative of the Hall of Fame, who really have the staff and the expertise to help orchestrate an event like this.
We're going to see what kind of juice the mayor of that city of Oneonta has. We'll have to figure it out.
Trust me, I don't have mine either. Yeah.
Anyway, that's. So tune in and we'll find out whether or not the mayor gets tickets. All right. Anyway, Ellen, Mayor Tillapaugh, it's such a pleasure.
Yes.
And so thank you for joining us on the podcast, The Hill City Gambit, available apparently everywhere.
You're a trendsetter, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks an awful lot, Ellen.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for your time and for learning all about our city. Special thanks to the citizens of Oneonta and all who have made the Hill City Gambit possible. We hope to see you for episode 3, where we'll be discussing housing. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening. If you would like to learn more and support Oneonta and our efforts in bringing 1,000 new residents to our historic city, visit exploreoneonta.com. That's exploreoneonta.com.
That was good.